go down to the beach, do some foraging in that little island where we built the bridge early on, because you get the valuable stuff like coral and those purple sea urchins, and later on things like the nautilus shells. The good news to do this is even on days where you have bad luck like today and there's only one of them, they're worth quite a bit of money, and Willie is right there pretty much every single day of the week to sell it to him, so you don't have to carry it around all day and wait till you either get back to the farm or just throw it out when you find something more valuable. The other good thing about the coral, as I've probably explained in other videos, is people don't really like them as gifts. They're not that helpful for any crafting recipes until you get a little bit later on, and even those are not super great, so it's sort of guilt-free selling them. You get 80 coins for them. That's kind of a lot just for walking over to that beach. And now we're going to do some fishing. So we're going to head over to the west of the map where this rock is right here and do some fishing. So basically what you're going to want to do is hold down the X button until you're as close as the max fill as possible, where it said max there. Release the X button and the line's going to go out. When you hear that buzz and get on the hit button, hit the X, and then you're going to want to use A in order to tap the bar to keep it as close to on top of the fish as you can. If it gets out of that area, you're going to lose the fish. So on this one, basically what we're going to do is you see it bobbing there in the water. That means that something is around. So as soon as we get the hit that X button and tap A to keep it over. Like when it's down at the bottom, you don't really need to do much. You just let the bar sit there. As it moves up, sort of tap A to keep on top of the fish. And you'll get a knack for this going on. As you go forward with the game, it becomes a lot easier because A, you just get used to doing it and understand the mechanics of the game better, and B, the bar that you're using to fish with gets wider and wider and wider. Plus you're going to be able to use things like bait and hooks, all that sort of stuff, in order to attract and keep fish on the line. So don't get super frustrated with fishing early on. I know a lot of people say it's one of their least favorite things about the game, but especially early in the game, it's one of your best ways to make money. You need a lot of these fish at various times of the day, weather, seasons, locations, in order to fill up your community center slots. And again, if you're down here on the beach fishing, you can make some money really early on in the day just by catching a few fish, walking them over to Willie, selling them, and then going about your business for the rest of the day and not having to keep that valuable space in your inventory. So basically at this point, I'm going to fish until we're getting close to filling up our backpack and maybe have a variety of fish here. I think some of these are stuff we need for the community center. I know definitely the sardine is in there. Maybe a couple of other things, and then we can drop them off at the community center on our way to do whatever else it is we're going to do today. Maybe go up to the mountain lake and do some fishing there, try and introduce ourselves to a couple people in the meantime. Okay. Well, in spite of our bad luck day today, we're actually getting quite a lot of hits on the fish, which is good, and we're getting some decent quality silver and all that fish here. So right at this point, our inventory is full, so rather than wasting our time and energy catching another fish that we can't keep, we'll go over and sell most of these to Willie. I think, let's see. Yeah, so I don't think we need any of those for the community center, at least today. So basically we'll just sell all of them, and we can then walk up and do more fishing up toward the top of the map, sort of foraging and talking to people that we haven't met yet on the way. It's really nice to build up your foraging skill early on, because if you do that, you get more benefits. Basically, when you reach level 5, you get to pick a benefit, and I'll talk you through which ones are the best based on your game style play and all of that once we get there. It's a little bit easier to show you when you have the options in front of you. All right, so we're looking out for Marnie, a few other people. No one's going to be in the Stardrop saloon yet. Talk to Mr. Lewis. All right. Say hi to Leah. Hello, Leah. Why did you become a farmer? Want to make tons of money, more real, following Grandpa's footsteps. All right, yeah, let's say I want to follow my Grandpa's footsteps. Seems like a nice thing to say. All right, so that's the backpack we were talking about in the ad from Pierre that we got in the morning. It's 2,000 gold, so we're going to hold off on getting that until after the Spring Festival where we buy our strawberry seeds, but it's probably going to be our next big ticket purchase because it's going to make walking around foraging and especially mining a lot easier to deal with and a lot more profitable in the long run because you don't have to worry about throwing stuff out when you start filling up your backpack early on. Which as we do some more mining, you're going to see definitely becomes the problem, and you have to sort of do a Sophie's choice between this gem, that gem, something you might need for the community center, but you think you're going to be able to find again, versus something that you know you need for the museum, and you're not sure if it's going to come up again in the future. So as much as Pierre is one of my least favorite people, he had a fair point in his advertisement earlier that is something you're definitely going to want to do is get a big backpack. All right, so go over to this corner here. If you're fishing on the mountain lake and not looking for a legendary fish, it's sort of the place that I've found that gives you higher quality fish overall most of the time. And you don't have to walk all the way around the lake in order to do that. So we're sort of standing here out toward that log over there, and you'll end up getting more fish, higher quality fish, just in my experience. All right, so it's 4:40 p.m. You can see we're into the orange for our energy level. You remember a few short days ago, we would have had to already pass out in our bed at this point, but luckily we have those field snacks that we learned how to craft. So even if we start getting into the red, we can just eat one of those and make our way back to the farm without too much of a problem. But in the meantime, we can get some fish here. Carp, we've gotten a few of these green algae. The green algae are not worth a lot of money, but they're great because they don't vary in quality. So if you're catching a lot of them, they always stack. Basically, you're not taking up extra space in your inventory with the extra algae. They just will stack on top of each other. So don't worry when you're catching them early on. And they're easy. You don't have to fight to get them. So it's basically free money. And the reason we're getting so many of those is because it's a bad luck day. You're not going to get the high quality fish, the rare fish, all that stuff on a bad luck day most of the time in the game. There's obviously exceptions to that rule, but the odds aren't in your favor. For fishing, the reason I recommend doing it early on, especially on a bad luck day, is it doesn't really matter that much. You can't catch those fish anyway. They're a lot faster and easier to slip away and more variable in their movements than these fish like the carp and the bullhead that we're catching now. So you kind of want to fish on a bad luck day because you don't want to be catching like a legendary fish. You can't do it. So you'd be wasting your time and your energy. Say hi to Robin.